Hi everyone, I'm Celeste. Welcome to my BookTube channel. Well, this afternoon my son and I spent a lovely kind of overcast day down at our local art gallery. And it's a beautiful gallery. It was founded in, I believe, 1913. And just gorgeous buildings. And I believe they have something like over 13,000 pieces of art. And there's a little something for everyone there. You know, you don't have to live in New York City or London or Paris in order to find art that speaks to your heart. Most towns have some sort of art offering, and often it's the little galleries tucked away that offer the greatest surprises. Today I wanted to chat a little bit about curating an art shelf, a shelf of books about art and artists. I love art. I have very broad tastes when it comes to art. And I thought it would just be fun to have a chat with you today about collecting art books and learning about artists throughout our various stages of life. So let's begin. I'm a firm believer that you're never too young to start appreciating the arts. And one company who agrees with me is Baby Einstein. And my son and I are firm fans of Baby Einstein. He had these DVDs and books when he was quite young, and they're lovely. And a lot of them are actually available on YouTube now. There's Baby Monet, which is discovering the seasons. There's Baby Van Gogh, which tells, I think, about colors, Baby Shakespeare, and so on. And they're just really playful. They introduce your child to a variety of shapes, colors, sounds, classical music, and works of art. And it's all done in a really sort of quiet, calm, gentle, cozy way. So we love these, and we've enjoyed these for years, and I strongly suggest you check them out, especially if you have a little one in your household. There's that. Anytime you buy yourself or a child a beautiful picture book, you're also not only having them engage with the text, but also engage with the artwork. And this was an early favorite of mine. It's one of the books I've had the longest, and it's called A Tree is Nice. And this really kind of informed the color palette that I still love today. If you look around me, you'll see greens and golds and sort of autumnal shades, lots of green. And so if I open this page up, you'll see what I mean. I just thought that was just so wonderful. And I remember I used to bring this book outside, and I would rake up a pile of maple leaves in our front yard, and then I would sort of jump into it and read my book. Let me see if I can find another page here that has the colors I'm referring to. This one's lovely. If it's an apple tree, we can climb it to pick the apples. So it's just a wonderful book. So picture books can also be a great resource for learning about art and composition. And another one that I have here that I really enjoy is Linnea in Monet's Garden. And there is that book. This is a great one. It's a simple picture book, but through Linnea we go and visit the artist Monet, and we really learn a lot about his techniques and style. It's a beautiful little book, and the end pages actually have the water lilies on them. And of course she's standing on the bridge at Giverny. And then it wouldn't be complete unless you had the little Linnea in Monet's Garden doll. You know I'm a sucker for dolls. And in this, she's actually holding a little miniature copy of the book. And she's wearing the little pinafore and the straw hat that has the ribbon on it. She's just darling. And I actually was able to get her from eBay, and she was very inexpensive, so I just couldn't resist. So yeah, so that is Linnea in Monet's Garden. For older children who are looking for a slightly deeper understanding of major artists and their works, there's also this book, and this is great for readers of any age. I love this book. You know, I'm a huge fan of DK books when I'm learning about a subject during Kindersley, and they have a bunch of annotated guides, and this one is the annotated guide to great artists, the lives of 50 painters explored through their work. This is my personal copy of this, but it does have library plastic over it to keep it nice. But this is a lovely book. We've got Dürer, Hopper, Bellini, Rembrandt, Poussin, Monet, Friedrich. I love Friedrich. And it's really nicely done. It's just a 2-page overview of some of the world's major artists. For example, here is Rembrandt. I'll just hold this up so you can see. So you learn a little bit of biography about the artist, where they were born, what parents they came from, where they studied, what they're known for, their key works. So for example, for Rembrandt, there is Self-Portrait, The Night Watch, and The Jewish Bride. And then it talks about when they died. Here's another one on Klimt. So it's just a really good general quick overview if you're looking to learn a little bit about art and artists. Another really wonderful series for doing that is a series that I saw on, I want to say, no, it wasn't Netflix. It was on Amazon, but I think you can find it on YouTube now. And if you can, I will post it down below. But that is called The World's Greatest Paintings with Andrew Marr. And it's a wonderful series. Each episode takes a deep dive where you look at a particular painter and painting. And Andrew Marr does a fantastic job telling you about the artist's life. I think the thing I love most about this series is that, some works I think are easy to love. There's Van Gogh's Sunflowers, there is Monet's Water Lilies, and so on. The Mona Lisa by Leonardo da Vinci. But what Andrew Marr does is he will take a painting that you may not have really considered. For example, the Fighting Temeraire. Now that's not a painting that I would ever be really attracted to or think of as a wonderful painting, but after listening to Andrew Marr describe the artist's life, who was Turner, and tell you about how the painting was actually made and the use of light and where the painter painted it and what the social circumstances were at the time, it really gives you a profound appreciation for Turner and for the painting. So what I would say about this series is that even if you didn't think you liked a painting, you will come away appreciating it and appreciating the artist. It's also fun to find these quirky little books on specific art subjects. And so I happened to find this one by Sister Wendy. Sister Wendy did Sister Wendy's Story of Art, and that's dear and near to my heart. I think it's also available on YouTube. But Sister Wendy was a nun who had like a 10 or 12 episode series where she goes through and describes the story of art from the cave paintings of Lascaux all the way up to the present day. And it's just her own personal reflections and her own spirituality on what the art means to her. And it's just lovely. And in this little book that I found, it's called Sister Wendy's Book of Muses, and it's a celebration of the 9 goddesses from mythology that control the magic of inspiration. And throughout, Sister Wendy illustrates the discussion with porcelain figures of the goddesses, and it's just charming. So you can just take one aspect of art, like Muses, and I'll open it up and show you a couple of these. So here's Melpomene, and she is the muse of tragedy. So, and there's a little figurine there to represent Melpomene. And then she'll talk for a page or two about her and about tragedy. This is Terpsichore. So if you ever wanted to learn who the Muses are and see some lovely figurines depicting them and have Sister Wendy tell you about them, this is a marvelous little book that you can pick up a copy of. And then I also love oversized poster books, and I think they're a great way to engage with art too. The text is limited, so you're not overwhelmed with the whole life story of anybody. You can just sort of enjoy confronting artworks. And so this one, for example, I have about 10 poster books, but this one is Botanical Prints from Hortus, Eystettensis. And these are from the 1600s, and they're botanical prints. For the longest time, I have been going to cut these out of the book and frame them and have a series of them on my wall here. Have I done it yet? No, but I do love this book. And I'll just share a couple of these with you. They're just so beautiful, especially considering when they were done. This is the sunflower. Beautiful. And I'll show you my favorite, which is actually the tulips. You could do a series of 4 of these and have them be seasonal. I love this one. Yeah, these are tulips. So let me show you this. Is that not gorgeous? I think they would be beautiful in very simple, like black frames. I also found this little book that I thought was fun, and I found this at the thrift store, and I think it was like $2.99. It's called Barefoot in the Grass, The Story of Grandma Moses by William H. Armstrong. Isn't that a cute cover? And the name sounded familiar to me, and it said winner of the 1970 Newbery Medal, William H. Armstrong. So I looked him up. He's actually the author of Sounder, which some of you may have heard of. But I wouldn't say it's the greatest, most accessible biography of Grandma Moses, but it's got lots of lovely images of her paintings. Grandma Moses, for me, is symbolic of it's never being too late in life to start something, because she didn't become known for her paintings until she was in her 70s. In fact, she didn't begin to paint until she was in her 70s, and at one point she was a housekeeper, and for a hobby she did embroidered works, but she got too much arthritis in her hands, and so she turned to painting and became famous. And one thing that I think is really neat about this book is that there's little samples of her handwriting as well, and this is about Christmas time, and I thought, wouldn't it be fun just to set up like a little display of Christmas items at the holiday and have this open to this page and read about Christmas Eve and the tree and the presents and the family and all of that. In the video clip that I shared with you from our trip to the art gallery earlier today, there was a painting by Grandma Moses, and it's a beautiful one. There's also this one. It's called Corn. And look at the bright colors in this one. Just beautiful. So try your thrift shop. You can often find really neat little books for a very inexpensive price there and learn something about a favorite artist. I also found these little guides by Taschen on individual artists, and they have quite a series of these, so look for these on sites like eBay. I found two, and Taschen creates beautiful books. In the past I've showed you their 2-volume books on fashion, and they're just gorgeous. But this is their artist series, and so I found this one on Vermeer, the complete paintings. And I'll just show you the inside of this. Oh, it's just beautiful. Look at this. I love Vermeer. Let me find another one for you. One of my favorites. And this is the lute player, I want to say, the guitar player. Yeah. Oh, and this is a famous one, The Glass of Wine. So this is about Vermeer. These little guides are great for learning the basic facts of the artist's life, where the works are housed today, and all of that. So I got the one on Vermeer, and then I actually found another one on Karl Larsen. It's also published by Taschen, and it's just lovely. I love Karl Larsen. I'm a big fan of his work. He often does images of children, women, families, and some of the prints are just so dear. Look at this one, the children at the door. And I'll find another one to show you here. This is a little girl and her sister in a kitchen. Often the scenes are domestic. He's known for his beautiful, bright colors and family scenes. And here they all are at the edge of the water playing. So just gorgeous. So I'm a fan of these Taschen guides. And then I just wanted to share with you a few other books that I have in my collection. During the clip from the art gallery, you may have noticed Interlude by Maxfield Parish. I love Maxfield Parish. He was a poster artist and children's book illustrator, but he was also known as a fine artist. And the color Maxfield Parish blue, which is a kind of cyan or turquoise, is what he's famous for. Happens to be my favorite color. And I have this book called Maxfield Parish by Coy Ludwig. And it's just gorgeous. Actually, here in Rochester, we're lucky enough to have Kodak Hall, and that's through the Eastman School of Music. And on the wall is a mural that was done by Maxfield Parish. And so whenever you go to hear the Rochester Philharmonic Orchestra, it's lovely to sit there and be able to look at original artwork by Maxfield Parish. And this is my absolute favorite Maxfield Parish artwork, and it is called Stars. Isn't that just lovely? And then I do have just 2 books that I'd like to share with you, which are on the subject of art. This one is called Thunderclap, and it is by the author Laura Cumming. Now, this was longlisted for the Women's Prize in Nonfiction. And this is a sort of braided memoir. And in it, the author talks about several different things and then braids them together. So one of the braids has to do with the painter Karl Fabricius, and I'll just read you what it says on the inside flap here. On the morning of 12 October 1654, a gunpowder explosion devastated the Dutch city of Delft. The thunderclap was heard over 70 miles away. Among the fatalities was the painter Karl Fabricius, dead at 32, leaving only his haunting masterpiece, The Goldfinch, and barely a dozen known paintings. For the explosion that killed him also buried his reputation, along with answers to the mysteries of life and his career. So, yes, Laura Cumming explores the death of Fabricius. She talks about Dutch art and the Dutch masters, and that part is actually really fascinating. She talks about how we see, how we look at art, art within art, sort of telescoping art where there's a scene within a scene within a scene, and she likens that to memory. And she also talks about the death of her own father, who was also an artist, and kind of weaves those narratives together. I wanted to love this book. I did like it. I think it's very well done. I think if you're looking for an excellent example of a wonderful braided memoir that works perfectly, I would look at something like H is for Hawk by Helen Macdonald, who was my teacher. But this is good, and I can see why it was longlisted for the Women's Prize. It's certainly interesting. The one thing that it really did do was ignite my interest in the Dutch masters, and so I really enjoyed looking at the Rembrandt, for example, at the art gallery earlier today. It's really just made me more fascinated with that and the work of Fabricius and the Goldfinch, and just life at that time. And then I did read one other book, and this one is kind of a departure. I was thinking about what it's like for people of different abilities when they engage with art. And this book was recommended by another booktuber, and her name is Ashley, the Untrained Librarian. Please do check out her channel. She's great. And a book that she had recommended was from the Inklings Press, and it is called Blind Spot: Exploring and Educating on Blindness. And the author of this is Maud Rowell. And Maud Rowell is a freelance journalist. She's based in London, and she actually lost her eyesight at age 19 while she was traveling in Korea, South Korea. And so she is, in this book, educating people on the challenges of living every day with blindness through things that we normally just take for granted, like eating a meal or crossing the street. My interest in this book was primarily in relation to how Maud Rowell engages with art. She herself is a keen painter, film photographer, and mixed media artist. And part of this book, it's just fascinating because she's talking about going to art galleries and what it's like trying to engage with the works of art. And she does talk about how you can push a button and have a description of what you're what you would be seeing available for people who are are blind. But she says they're not always well done, and of course it takes into account the biases of the person who wrote the script for the visual description. So it's really interesting to approach art from that angle. And I also was very interested to see how my son engaged with artwork as well. I know for a fact that he loves the art gallery. He loves walking around. One thing that we did together on another day was we went to see the traveling Van Gogh exhibit, where they have the living museum, and they had all of the Van Gogh paintings projected onto the ceiling and walls and floor, and that was fascinating. And I know he absolutely loved literally being immersed in the colors and the palette and the the cornfield and the starry nights and all of that, and to actually be able to be swathed in the colors produced by the projectors was really just an amazing experience. And it's all the more fascinating because he has a I don't know what you would call it, a phenomenon known as synesthesia, and that is where some people taste colors, some people hear colors. So he is a person who can hear colors in music, and he also sees them in different flavors. So it's really, really interesting. I think he told me once that pop music is light pink, and we talked about Senegalese folk guitar music from Africa, and that was indigo. So it's really hard for me to explain, but look up synesthesia and you'll get a much better understanding of it than I'm giving you here. And finally, I just wanted to share my very fanciful artist's beret that I purchased quite a while ago, actually. And I'll just model it for you here. It's a lovely shade of blue, and I actually found this in a shop on Etsy. And of course, everyone studying art or going to see art must have their beret, right? But I just love the color and I love the fit. And so this was made by Tatiana Menshova, and she has a store on Etsy called Demilier Atelier, and she is located in Kyiv, Ukraine. And she designs and sews these herself, and I just really wanted to support her cottage industry business and do my little part for supporting a woman who's trying to make ends meet, who lives in the Ukraine. And I must have bought this maybe like almost a year ago. But she does beautiful work. Some of her hats are really just wild and fanciful. She does big witches hats and giant sort of Audrey Hepburn sun hats that look like they're from the golden age of Hollywood. And then she's got some really lovely berets in many different styles and colors and patterns. So I will leave the link to Tatiana's shop down below under the video. Please do check her out and support her business if you can. Well, that's all the time I have for today, and I hope you've enjoyed it. I'd love to know what sort of art you love. Do you have any art books? Do you have a shelf of art books that you've curated? And if so, let me know. I love hearing about your libraries as well. And we'll see you again real soon. Bye-bye.